The next moment, the Golden Dragon King slowly turned to Long Yi and said, "Long Yi, I know the reason you've been following me, but I can also tell you with certainty, if you remain loyal, there will be no shortage of benefits for you once we rule the Dragon Clan. Furthermore, Xiao Yan can be considered my disciple in some respect. You should know what to do now, right?" "Understood, my lord. I know what to do." Long Yi smiled, but inside he was already overjoyed. Clearly, Long Yi was quite pleased. After all, the Dragon Clan was a place teeming with powerhouses, and for dragons from other realms, joining the clan was the highest honor. Long Yi was no exception. However, Long Yi's strength was too weak, and his dragon bloodline too thin. Joining the Dragon Clan would be an impossible task, harder than reaching the heavens. But following Xiao Yan changed everything. The power that Kid displayed was enough to excite even Long Yi. If he continued following Xiao Yan, and once the Golden Dragon King was revived, joining the Dragon Clan would be within his grasp. He might even receive some remarkable benefits. By then, it would be just like a carp leaping through the Dragon Gate, a success right within reach. So naturally, Long Yi was ecstatic. "Take care of yourself while I'm away," the Golden Dragon King said gently. Xiao Yan's eyes grew slightly misty upon hearing this. He had just arrived in this unfamiliar world, and if not for his master, the Golden Dragon King, he wouldn't even know where he was. Though you're just a mid-4-star Do-D right now, the power of life force is not beyond your reach. The Golden Dragon King finished speaking, his body emitting a golden Do-Chi as his eyes slightly closed, focusing on the life source stone in his palm. In the next moment, a vast and overwhelming life force surged from the life source stone, slowly flowing into the round object. "Take this." After completing the process, the Golden Dragon King smiled. "Master this?" Xiao Yan barely took hold of it when he immediately felt an incredibly dense power radiating from the round object. This item is called Flowing Water Cloud, a vessel specifically designed to preserve medicinal properties. As for this life force, its effects are truly terrifying. Even now, absorbing it will cause a significant leap in your abilities. This is a power that only Do Xian level experts can absorb. But because you possess heavenly flames and a strong soul force, I trust you can handle it. The Golden Dragon King explained. In this place, this is the core of the Xuanling Imperial Pool. Soaking here will be far more effective than anywhere else. With this life force, breaking through to 6-star Do-D will be a natural progression. You might even be able to touch the level of a 5-star Do-D. The Golden Dragon King added. Hearing this, Xiao Yan couldn't help but rejoice. Even this diluted life force before him was far more powerful than any energy he had encountered. With such immense power, he could likely push toward the perfect stage of a 4-star Do-D. Yes. Xiao Yan nodded in acknowledgement. "I'll be going now." The Golden Dragon King gave Xiao Yan one last look before turning away, the oddly shaped life source stone in hand, flowing directly into the Imperial Flame Ring in Xiao Yan's grasp. His soul followed immediately after, surging into the ring with the stone. The next moment, Xiao Yan felt a golden barrier appear in a dark space within his Imperial Flame Ring. It was clear that his master, the Golden Dragon King, was now using the life source stone to restore his core strength. Time to get back to business. We've wasted enough time. After a brief pause, Xiao Yan spoke softly. "Don't worry, I'm still here," Long Yi said, noticing Xiao Yan's slight dejection, and added in a comforting tone. Xiao Yan acknowledged, then picked up the flowing water cloud and carefully examined it. The flowing water cloud appeared to be a vessel with a ring-shaped edge and a concave center. Within the vessel, clear, colorless liquid sat motionless. Though it seemed small and insignificant, the terrifying power contained within was unmistakably potent. "This is quite a treasure," Xiao Yan muttered under his breath. If it weren't for his possession of 23 types of heavenly flames and his vast soul force, even he wouldn't dare absorb such immense power. Otherwise, trying to absorb this would lead to his body exploding from the overwhelming force. Fortunately, Xiao Yan had enough confidence to absorb this power. Without delay, he placed the vessel down and sat cross-legged. If he was to absorb this life force, Xiao Yan had to make thorough preparations. After all, such an opportunity was extremely rare. Sitting cross-legged, Xiao Yan took out several high-level pills, slowly placing them in front of him. This space is strange. It doesn't seem to restore any Do Qi, and even Do Di techniques are unusable. Xiao Yan murmured. Without hesitating further, he quickly swallowed the pills. As soon as the pills entered his body, a warm force began to spread throughout him, traveling through his limbs and bones. Gradually, the Do Qi that had depleted in certain areas of his body began to recover, while the medicinal power flowed continuously. Wong. The fat-skinned siblings have failed? A plainly dressed man fanned himself gently as he spoke. Useless. I've nurtured them for so long in the Xuanling royal family, and they can't even handle this small task. The Xuanling king slammed his hand down, instantly crushing the precious night pearl in his hand to powder. Your Majesty, please calm down, Wenzi said softly. How are the preparations for the campaign against the Medusa clan? The Xuanling king snapped, looking up abruptly. The dragon-slaying legion has gathered 5 members already. The remaining 5 are being summoned. Once they arrive, we can begin the campaign against Medusa. Wenzi's tone shifted to something more serious. But, Wenzi hesitated. But what? The Xuanling king coldly snorted. There are quite a few in the dragon-slaying legion who are dissatisfied with your rule. Wenzi didn't hold back, speaking slowly. Damn it. Once this mission succeeds, I will make them bow in submission. The Xuanling king's eyes flashed with fury as he spoke. Leave. Prepare for the auction. The Xuanling king waved his hand as he recalled something. Yes, my king. Wenzi quietly responded, turning to leave. In the grand hall, resplendent in gold, the Xuanling king sat alone on the throne, deep in thought. Elsewhere, in an exquisitely furnished room, Elder Zhu opened his eyes and muttered to himself, 20 days remain. Outside the Xuanling Imperial Pool, the 9 fish playing with dragon array stood vigil, guarding the pool's entrance. At the entrance of the Xuanling Imperial Pool, a black figure, radiating a terrifying aura, stood silently as if waiting for someone. The figure was in no hurry, sitting down on the ground with closed eyes. Even in this calm posture, any movement or disturbance in the area would be immediately detected. Inside the Xuanling Imperial Pool, Mu Yingying and Mu Feng were each undergoing their own trials. Since stepping into the pool, a greedy energy had begun to exude from Mu Yingying's body. Where are Xiao Yan and the others? After being separated by that irresistible, mysterious force, Mu Yingying found herself on a lone reef surrounded by a serene ocean. Around her, there was only the vast, calm sea. The waters shimmered with a golden hue, and within them, she could sense a strange, mystical power. Her curiosity about the golden sea deepened. It seems I've been separated from Xiao Yan and the others by the power within this Xuanling Imperial Pool. Mu Yingying murmured to herself, lightly brushing her lips as she spoke. The next moment, Mu Yingying dipped her fingers into the golden waters. A unique power spread throughout her body, sending a chill down her spine. Such dense energy, she whispered with a smile. In the blink of an eye, Mu Yingying's immense power as a half-step 5-star Do Di erupted from her, and a deep blue flame gently enveloped her body. In her robe, paired with the flowing silken fabric, she looked like a pure, ethereal fire spirit. It seems the two of them have also been separated from me. Mu Yingying released her formidable energy, trying to locate Xiao Yan and Mu Feng. But she couldn't sense them at all. The Xuanling Imperial Pool was far too vast. What a stunning woman! A small girl slowly emerged from beneath the water, her eyes peeking just above the surface. Strangely, a twisted emotion flickered in the girl's pupils. After scanning her surroundings and confirming there was no one else nearby, Mu Yingying relaxed and sat down on the reef, raising her robe and revealing her pale, delicate feet. She dipped her feet into the golden waters of the Xuanling Imperial Pool, feeling the cool sensation wash over her entire body. But the next moment, a stream of pure energy began to flow from the pool, through her feet, and into her body. This Xuanling Imperial Pool truly is extraordinary. Still, the energy here feels a bit too diluted. I need to find a place with more concentrated energy to make this trip worthwhile. With this plan in mind, Mu Yingying didn't rush to leave. Instead, she playfully kicked at the water, creating splashes, and for a brief moment, she allowed herself to smile, a rare sight. That smile was enchanting, her delicate eyes filled with a grace that could only be described as celestial. If one had to put it into words, it was the kind of smile that could captivate a city or a nation, the perfect metaphor. After a brief moment of relaxation, Mu Yingying sat back on the reef and summoned an exquisite jade bottle into her palm. Inside the bottle was a single pill, adorned with intricate patterns, its aroma emanating even through the container. If Xiao Yan were here, he would have immediately recognized this pill. It was none other than the Dodi pill, and just one look would tell Xiao Yan that this particular Dodi pill was nearly perfect in quality. The refined patterns on the pill's surface clearly indicated one thing. The alchemist who crafted it must have been extraordinarily skilled, likely far beyond even Xiao Yan's level of expertise. A Dodi pill. Mu Yingying gazed at the pill, murmuring its name softly. The Dodi pill was the reward for the top 3 finishers in the points contest. Xiao Yan, Mu Yingying, and Mu Feng each received one. Before entering the Xuanling Royal Palace, Elder Zhu had secretly given the Dodi pills to Mu Yingying and Mu Feng, but not to Xiao Yan. This was because the pill was meant to help a Dodi below the 5-star level ascend by 1 rank. Since Xiao Yan had only reached the mid-4-star Dodi stage, Elder Zhu worried that if Xiao Yan acted hastily, the pill's effects might be wasted. He feared that Xiao Yan's eagerness would lead him to consume the pill prematurely. After all, the Dodi pill was best used to break through to the 5-star Dodi level. As for Mu Yingying, already being a half-step 5-star Dodi, and Mu Feng at the late 4-star Dodi stage, Elder Zhu deemed it appropriate to give them their Dodi pills. He planned to give Xiao Yan his pill once he reached the late 4-star Dodi stage. I'm already a half-step 5-star Dodi. I wonder if this Dodi pill could push me to mid-5-star Dodi. Mu Yingying snapped back to reality and held the pill in her hand thoughtfully. Though the Dodi pill was only effective for those below the 5-star Dodi level, Mu Yingying was still within its range as a half-step 5-star Dodi. I should first find a place with more concentrated energy. That way, my chances of success will be higher. With a clear plan in mind, Mu Yingying prepared to leave. She sensed an area within the Xuanling Imperial Pool where the energy was particularly abundant. Surrounded by her deep blue flames, Mu Yingying rose to her feet. With a light tap of her toes, she began to walk across the surface of the water, her movements as delicate as a dragonfly skimming the water. Hee, big sis, don't leave. Stay and play with me, won't you? A playful voice echoed around Mu Yingying. Who's there? Mu Yingying was always alert to her surroundings, but this voice unsettled her. Despite her strength as a half-step 5-star Dodi, she was puzzled. The voice seemed to come from all directions, making it impossible to pinpoint its source. The unknown is always the most frightening. However, Mu Yingying quickly displayed her decisive nature. Her body flared with deep blue flames, which quickly transformed into armor, offering her a sense of security. She paused, her toes still gently touching the water's surface, and her beautiful eyes swept over her surroundings. What an eerie flame! It's just like that human boy's flame. The little girl's voice echoed once more, and the next moment, a massive vortex appeared on the surface of the water. Mu Yingying's guard shot up as she focused her attention on the center of the swirling vortex, the source of the voice. What terrifying energy! Mu Yingying's eyes narrowed as she kept a close watch on the spinning vortex. Emerging from the center of the whirlpool was a petite figure. Bloop, bloop. Large bubbles rose from the vortex's core, and in the next moment, the figure of a small girl appeared. The first thing that caught Mu Yingying's attention was how small this figure was. The girl was no more than a meter tall, her diminutive stature in stark contrast to Mu Yingying's. Yet, despite her size, the girl's delicate face shocked Mu Yingying. Her big, watery eyes, her shoulder-length hair, and her black evening dress all highlighted her youthful beauty, though her body was still developing. Most striking, however, were the girl's large eyes. After staring into them for a moment, Mu Yingying found herself briefly dazed. She shook her head sharply, trying to regain clarity, and then spoke, "Who are you? And judging by your words, it seems you've encountered another person with flames like mine. Where is he?" Mu Yingying asked, not giving the girl a chance to catch her breath, firing off multiple questions in rapid succession. Upon entering the Xuanling Imperial Pool, only the three of them from the Incense Valley had come. If there was someone else who possessed the same power of flame, it could only be Xiao Yan. "Big sister, you asked so many questions at once. How can I remember them all?" The little girl, with a seemingly innocent expression, glared at Mu Yingying with her large, watery eyes. "Who exactly are you?" Mu Yingying avoided making direct eye contact with the little girl's big, watery eyes. "No need to know who I am," the little girl replied, hiding her smile. "Humph." Mu Yingying snorted coldly. The deep blue flames around her body whirled violently, then transformed into a spear, which shot towards the little girl with fierce intensity. Swish! In an instant, the spear of blue energy flames rushed towards the little girl. But strangely, the spear, with its overwhelming aura, came to a halt as it neared her. "Big sister, why resort to violence so quickly? No one likes girls who are always fighting and killing." The little girl's voice was soft, and with a wave of her chubby hand, Mu Yingying's energy spear disintegrated into fine powder, scattering across the water's surface. Impossible! Mu Yingying realized something at that moment. The seemingly simple gesture from the little girl contained a terrifying amount of power. After all, Mu Yingying was already at the half-step 5-star Do-D level, and her attack was strong enough to challenge even a late-stage 5-star Do-D. Yet, this seemingly fragile girl had nullified it with ease. "By the way, the one with flames like yours," he ventured into some mysterious place. "He's probably dead by now." The little girl spoke casually. "Humph. Nonsense." Mu Yingying snorted coldly, but inwardly, she knew she wasn't a match for this little girl. She had already decided to retreat. "It's been so many years since someone as beautiful as you entered the Xuanling Imperial Pool. Big sister, won't you stay and keep me company?" The little girl's eyes flashed with a strange light as she stared at Mu Yingying, her voice taking on a hypnotic tone. "Sorry, I won't be staying," Mu Yingying replied softly. In the next instant, her speed surged as she attempted to flee from the little girl. "I've been here in the Xuanling Imperial Pool for 1,000 years. There's no part of this place that escapes my senses, so you might as well give up." With those words, the little girl sank into the water, vanishing from sight. Mu Yingying didn't let that dishearten her. She continued to increase her speed, putting as much distance between herself and the little girl as possible. Huff, huff, huff. After speeding through the area for several minutes, Mu Yingying had managed to get tens of kilometers away. She paused, lightly stepping onto the water's surface, gasping for breath. "Big sister." A crisp voice rang in her ears once more. Mu Yingying looked up in alarm, only to see the water swirling again in front of her. At the center of the vortex was, once again, the little girl. Damn it! Mu Yingying finally realized the severity of the situation. Her expression darkened as she focused intently on the little girl. "You can't run away, big sister." "Because I am the enchantress of the Xuanling Imperial Pool." The little girl smiled wickedly, her eyes exuding a frightening power. The enchantress's large, watery eyes began to rotate, and Mu Yingying felt herself falling into a daze, her body suddenly frozen in place. "Hee hee," the enchantress giggled. "Now, big sister, we can be together forever." The enchantress laughed eerily and approached Mu Yingying. What the enchantress had just used was her charm technique. For anyone weaker than her, it had a high success rate. And since Mu Yingying hadn't been on guard, she had fallen into the trap. Mu Yingying stood there, frozen in place, her eyes wide open but unmoving, like a statue. "Hee hee hee, big sister, let's go. I'll take you to my palace. We'll be together forever." The enchantress moved closer to Mu Yingying, marveling at how this woman radiated a sacred aura, like an ethereal fairy untouched by the mortal world. The enchantress reached out with her chubby hand, intending to grab Mu Yingying, when suddenly, A terrifying voice echoed through the space. Touch her, and you die. The surface of the water rippled and distorted as an intense, scorching heat burst forth. Black flames appeared out of nowhere, but the damage they inflicted on the enchantress was far from minor. Swish. In the next instant, black flames, carrying an aura of destruction, shot out from the twisted space and slammed into the enchantress's body. Sacred flame? The enchantress's expression turned grim, an uncommon sight. The black flames had sealed off all her routes of escape. Now, the enchantress found herself severely injured, her entire body covered in wounds. Black blood dripped from her chubby hand as she cursed under her breath. Damn it! What terrible luck! With a final frustrated shout, the enchantress dove back into the water without hesitation. One strike, and she was gravely wounded. The power of the black flames was beyond terrifying. Elsewhere, in the 7th layer of the underground palace, a space began to distort. There, a massive figure bound in chains radiated a dark, terrifying fire. Run! A powerful voice echoed through the distorted space. The next moment, the distortion closed up. What did you just do? A voice, like the awakening of a dragon, boomed through the 7th layer of the underground palace. Ha ha ha! Old human fool. Think you can devour me? It won't be that easy. The figure bound in chains laughed. Hmph! You won't last much longer, the mysterious elder's voice replied without concern. The underground palace returned to its eerie silence, but the figure in chains muttered something under its breath. Cough, cough, cough. The next moment, Mu Yingying snapped back to reality, feeling a sudden wave of weakness throughout her body. Run! A strong voice once again echoed in her mind. Brother! Mu Yingying's eyes filled with tears. The familiar voice could only belong to her long-lost brother. Brother! Is that you? Where are you? Mu Yingying called out, unable to hold back her emotions. Years ago, she and her brother had lived peaceful lives together. But one day, her brother left on a journey and never returned. No matter how hard she tried to reach him, there had been no word from him. Hearing her brother's voice again after so long, Mu Yingying couldn't stop the tears of longing from streaming down her face. However, the only response Mu Yingying received was a deathly silence. The next moment, her eyes widened, scanning the surface of the Xuanling Imperial Pool, and a powerful force erupted from her body. Hovering before her chest was a faint blue flame, gently releasing a peculiar energy. Even Xiao Yan would be fearful of this flame's power. The surrounding space seemed to burn, trembling slightly under its heat. What is that smell? In the 7th layer of the underground palace, the elder who had been sitting with his eyes closed suddenly snapped them open, his powerful senses sweeping through the entire 7th layer in an instant. The next moment, his awareness locked onto the 1st layer of the palace. What is that? The elder murmured. From what he could sense, there was a terrifying flame in the 1st layer, a power no less potent than sacred flame itself. Not good, thought the man bound by chains in the 7th layer of the palace. He had also sensed the elder's intentions. In response, black flames erupted from his body, surging with unstoppable force towards the elder. Just as the man summoned his power, the chains binding him tightened abruptly, and a wave of searing pain tore through his body. Yet, at that moment, all he could see was fiery red, and he ignored the agony. Hmph! Faced with the overwhelming black flames, even the elder did not dare take them lightly. He quickly redirected his attention, summoning a terrifying energy to clash against the black flames. Boom! 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 The violent clash of powers echoed through the dark space. Damn it! The elder muttered. Even though the sacred flame's power is suppressed, it's still this terrifying. If this place hadn't been specially reinforced, it would never have held up against this lunatic's attacks. Ah! The man screamed in agony. Each time he attacked, the chains that pierced through his body stirred, delivering excruciating pain beyond imagination. Humph! Yan Ji, why do you persist in opposing the Xuanling royal family? If you agree to submit to us, riches and power beyond measure are within your grasp. The elder spoke again. Submit to a bunch of hypocrites? Do you think Yanji would ever bow to you? The chain man, named Yanji, laughed coldly. If you want my core power, come and try to take it. Ha ha ha, the elder chuckled. Don't worry. It won't be long before you stop being so stubborn. You said that centuries ago, and here we are. Yanji snorted in disdain. Hearing this, the elder paid no further attention to Yanji. Closing his eyes, he resumed his cultivation. Why can't I sense anything? Mu Yingying stood on the surface of the Xuanling Imperial Pool, her expression full of disbelief. Brother, she whispered softly. Yet again, the only reply was a deep silence. A moment later, Mu Yingying carefully drew the blue flame back into her chest. Its power was so immense that even Xiao Yan's combination of 23 heavenly flames would be no match for it. Brother, she murmured, her lips trembling slightly with concern. You must not be in danger. After a brief moment of contemplation, Mu Yingying decided not to linger any longer. She had to leave quickly to avoid encountering the enchantress again. With this thought, she swiftly headed toward a specific location she had sensed, the very heart of the Xuanling Imperial Pool, where Xiao Yan was in seclusion. Strangely, despite not having any token from the Heaven-Eyed Fish Clan, Mu Yingying knew exactly how to reach the core area. Cough, cough, cough. Damn it! The enchantress muttered to herself as she dove back into the water, leaving the area where Mu Yingying had been. What's the relationship between that woman and the one in the deepest part of the palace? She wondered aloud. That figure from the deepest layer actually intervened in the fight. The one in the deepest part of the palace is a genuine Do Xian powerhouse. The enchantress, still in her childlike form, was clearly displeased. Her evening gown had been shredded, and blood oozed from her wounds. If she hadn't escaped when she did, she had no doubt that the figure from the deepest part of the palace would have obliterated her. That power, it carried the true essence of destruction, she mused, shivering at the memory. The ones who entered this time, they're all little monsters, the enchantress grumbled before diving deeper into the Xuanling Imperial Pool, her destination unknown. Splash, splash. Huff, huff. Such rich energy. Elsewhere, Mu Feng, fully immersed in the pool's waters, sighed in contentment. I wonder where Xiao Yan and Mu Yingying are, Mu Feng muttered as he continued to enjoy the pool's mystical power. Just by dipping into the water, an overwhelming sense of comfort spread through his body. The Do D pill. It seems I'll be able to break through to the 5-star Do D level with its help this time, Mu Feng grinned. Though he was currently at the peak of the late 4-star Do D stage, he was only a step away from reaching the perfect 4-star Do D level. With the Do D pill and the Xuanling Imperial Pool's unique benefits, it was only a matter of time before he broke through. With a clear plan in mind, Mu Feng dove deeper into the Xuanling Imperial Pool, knowing that the deeper he went, the stronger the effects would become. At the same time, Xiao Yan sat cross-legged at the center of the pool's core, surrounded by a water filled with immense life force, which steadily nourished his body. Let's give you a little boost. Long Yi grinned mischievously. The next moment, he tossed Xiao Yan into a small pond nearby. This pond had only appeared after Xiao Yan removed the life source stone. Though small, it was just deep enough to reach Xiao Yan's neck. Despite its size, the power within the pond was immense, slowly infusing Xiao Yan's body with life energy. Meanwhile, Mu Yingying arrived at the edge of the isolated island where Xiao Yan was meditating. No matter how she tried, she couldn't enter the island's perimeter. After a while, she gave up and instead disrobed at the edge of the island, slipping into the water with only her forehead exposed. Her jade-white body gleamed under the light as she soaked in the waters of the Xuanling Imperial Pool. At this moment, all three of them were reaping the immense benefits of the Xuanling Imperial Pool.